Alrighty, we were pleased to be joined by a guy that is from Gardena, California, born in Los Angeles, drafted in the first round in 2010, 20th overall to the Pittsburgh Penguins, played his junior hockey for the Penticton Vs, played some college hockey at the University of Denver, Stanley Cup champion in the 2015-2016 season with the Pittsburgh Penguins, recently retired. With all of that, we're pleased to have on today Beau Bennet.
What's up, boys? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, dude. That was a mouthful of an intro.
You're welcome. I know, surprisingly with my career.
Okay, first off, let's go into this, Beau. What's new with you? How are things? And where are you these days?
I'm just hanging out in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I played for the Coyotes organization. I was down in Tucson my last year, and then during quarantine, I just came up here with a bunch of buddies, and we were renting houses, bopping around, and I just wanted to move my stuff out of storage and started looking for houses and found a sick place in Arcadia. Just set up shop here. My brothers work here, so it was kind of nice symmetry getting out of LA, being in a place that I kind of come to know. And with LA, like I bought my house for a price in LA I would have got like a beach shack or been able to live under the pier. So it worked out for the best.
Okay, let's go backtracking here to Gardena, LA, Compton, as you said. What was a young Beau Bennet doing as a youngster?
It's pretty much a lot of the same, just playing sports. Played a lot of soccer and baseball growing up, a lot of roller hockey. And we lived on Crenshaw Boulevard. So that's like right down the street is like the Great Western Forum down in, I think it's Inglewood. So that's where the Kings were playing at the time, same with the Lakers. And my first roller hockey tournament was in the parking lot of Great Western Forum. And when you finished the tournament, you got tickets to go to the game that night. And that was when my first taste of ice hockey. And that's when I kind of came to love it. So I made a little bit of a transition when I was 8 years old to play both at the same time. And then I fully committed when I was about 14.
Dude, that's wild. I mean, the States in like Alberta, BC, like roller hockey's huge down there. Hey, like we had it here for like 6 years that I played like, Team Sash inline, and then it just stopped. Now it's all ball hockey, but roller hockey down there is crazy busy. Hey.
Yeah, roller hockey was like, it still is, a lot of the best players still play and they play pro. And I guess it's getting like where the purses for the winners are a little bit bigger. So it makes sense. I actually tried to play, I think I was my second year for Pittsburgh, I played in Narch, and it just got a little too intense for me. Growing up, it was like, you're just eating cheeseburgers. You're not even going out for warm-ups, and like, you're just having a good time. And then once you get a little older, like you're allowed to hit along the boards now, but you don't wear any gear. So
yeah. And
with my injury history, I was one hit away from just turning into dust or something.
Okay, let's jump to the U18 days. You played for an absolute wagon, and they still are to this day. The LA Junior Kings. First, how was that experience, man? I mean, walk us through playing for the LA Junior Kings.
Yeah, so my first year I played up, and then I played for Jack Bocas, who since passed away. He was one of the best coaches I've ever had. And we actually took like 30 guys on like a youth team. So wow. He was making cuts all the way up until December. And I was one of the borderline guys, like meetings day in and day out, like, hey, you're not cutting it. And it was kind of my first real wake up call of like, all right, maybe I need to take hockey a little more serious. Stuck it out, gained some traction throughout the middle of the season, came on at the end, grew a ton that summer. And then I came back and I played with Shane McColgan and Robbie Francis, were two good players. Shane lit up the WHL back in the day. And our team was a wagon. We didn't lose many games. We ran into a tough goalie in nationals. I think we outshot the team like 55 to like 13 or something. And we lost 1-0. So It was just one of those games that it wasn't meant to be, but that team was one of the best I ever played for sure.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, they're still good to this day, that Junior Kings team. Okay, I want to chat about your one and only year in junior, and you played for the iconic Penticton Vs and absolutely ripped it up. 120 points, 56 games. Walk us through that season, man.
Yeah, so actually I was wanting to go to the Calgary Hitmen, and my dad kind of kiboshed that. He just said he wanted me to keep my options open with college and whatnot. So I got drafted Tri-City in the USHL and went to camp. They thought I was coming because they kind of James Schwartz was coming in that year, so it would have been a good situation. And then one day I think it was out, like I was surfing like early in the morning, and I told Fred like, yeah, I'm not coming. And then I just kind of like, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do something that no one's really done. It was super unknown for like California to go up to the BCHL at that point. And I just called him. I was like, hey, I'm coming. And then I told Fred before I told my parents. My parents got a call from Fred saying, hey, what'd you say to turn his, like, make him change his mind? And they're like, we didn't even know he told, like, he didn't tell us anything. So they were super happy because they love Fred. And it ended up being the best decision ever because Penticton's an awesome place in BC. The rink, the organization. And then on top of that, our team was just so good. Like I think we lost 6 games out of 60.
Wow.
Unfortunately, the team that won it all, Verdun Vipers, I think they lost like 3 games. So like they were like, we were just going neck and neck. So there was good competition day in and day out. And it really helped me learn how to play my game. You know, Fred didn't try to change me. Basically just said, do your thing. Let's clean up a little bit in our D zone. But other than that, let's go up there and put up some points.
Yeah, and he did that 120. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's unreal.
So then you obviously, when you said you didn't go to the Western League, and if you did, you would have lost the right to play college, but you get the opportunity to play a couple of years at University of Denver. How did that all work out? And these are always good stories to ask you guys because we want to talk about school visits, other offers, you know, how much cash is coming in the bag to the doorstep. I mean, walk us through the college experience here at the University of Denver.
Yeah, I came in pretty hot for like in the BCHL, so it all came pretty quick, like offers and stuff, but I wanted to stay close to home. So I just chose to visit CC and DU. They were kind of the ones that were recruiting me before I was even being recruited. So I kind of felt a little bit of loyalty there. And the CC one was right after a rookie party. So I was just an absolute disaster on that trip. Like I missed like half the stuff they set up for me. I was like bedridden basically. My dad's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, Dad, I have a headache, just leave me alone. And then so they were really they were good about it. They knew like I was a rookie in the BCHL at 17. You kind of just have to do whatever they say to do. So I almost missed my flight. I got there like pulled up to the tarmac like 2 minutes before. But anyways,
you're like Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber.
I had Ben Sexton. I woke him up. I was like, can you drive me to the airport 45 minutes away? It's like, dude, your flight is in like an hour 30. I'm like, yeah, well, I got to try to make it. Luckily, Kelowna Airport's super low key, so they just rushed me through. But that's where the next weekend I go down to DU. And I knew some California guys there. I had played with a guy named William Wren. He was from Alaska, and there were some good bonds there. You know, it was one of those visits that was awesome. But at the time, George Gwozdecki had the bird flu, so I didn't even get to meet the head coach. So I love Denver. Denver's campus was awesome. I knew their team was sick. Rhett Rakshani was a California like legend growing up, and he was there going into his senior year. And that next weekend, I had World Junior A Challenge in PEI. We had a layover in Calgary, and George Gwozdecki flew to Calgary to meet me and my layover for 5 minutes in passing, like as I was switching gates, just to be like, hey, sorry I missed our in-person meeting. I'm like, all right, well now I got to come play a DU if you're coming to Calgary for a layover. So
that's unreal.
It ended up working out. You know, I felt that strong bond with DU, and my parents bought a house on campus that they just sold a decade later. I lived in, my older brother lived in it, my little brother lived in it. So it was one of those family bonds throughout the like literally 10 years that just worked out for us.
Danny, you got anything?
No, I'm good so far.
Okay, Beau, I want to transition into your draft here in 2010. You go 20th overall to the Pittsburgh Penguins. First, how special was that for you? And then obviously your family.
It was dope. I having it in Staples Center was awesome.
That's cool.
Like I had my grandma just turned 101 2 days ago. So she's
Nice.
still
Congrats.
she's still kicking it. And she wouldn't have been able to travel. So it was pretty special for her to be there. And my aunt doesn't get on planes, so she was there. My immediate family, I had a bunch of boys in town. So that whole week leading up to the draft was it was a gong show. And then I kind of knew I was going to be either early or I could have gone anywhere from like 6 to like 40. I was like in that range. So it was one of those weird, like, I don't know if I'm going to get drafted. And luckily I did get drafted at 20th to a great organization. And then we had a fun weekend after that.
So that kind of took my next question away. Like, did you know? Because we always ask these guys, like, hey, did you go to the draft or were you not there? Obviously, you're close to home, so you guys went. But there's always those horror stories of like, yeah, I'm supposed to go in the first, and then they don't go at all. And it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, I kind of figured I was going to go in the first just because I hadn't really worked out to that point, so I had like a lot to give in terms of like my skill level was there, my hockey sense, but hadn't really developed my body yet. So I felt like for potential wise, people were kind of holding that to high regard. And actually, Jack Bocus, my coach, was the first one. He texted me after the 19th pick, and he just goes, "You're about to go right now." And even my agent didn't know at the time, so I was like, I thought he was messing with me. And then, sure enough, I got my name announced, and it was pretty awesome.
That's unbelievable. I wish I could just sit there and get drafted. Pretty cool. That'd be unreal. Okay, so here's my next question is, when was it really like, hey, I could probably do this for a full-time job and a career? Because I mean, 20th overall, you had a good junior year, good college years, and you didn't finish college, correct?
No, I went for like a year and a half. I got injured like 10 games into my second year.
So then you get drafted and then kind of thing. So like, when was it like, hey, like I can do this for a job?
Actually, I think it was after my 16-year-old year. I was playing for another wagon, this LA Selects team that we were so good, but I wasn't playing much. And it wasn't because I just hadn't grown up to that point. Like my style of play is super methodical, more of a thinking game. And at that time I was like 5'6", 5'7". And then that summer I grew like 4 or 5 inches. So now I'm 6 foot playing the same style. But now my stride's longer. I'm getting around the ice a little bit better. I can handle the puck a little bit better. And then I went to USA camp, like those, they have the 14 under, 15 under, 16 under, those camps. I actually didn't make the first 3. So I missed 14, 15, 16. So at that point, like I'm having like a crisis of like, all right, well, this might not be for me. I just want to get a scholarship to help my parents. And then that 17-year-old year, I ended up making it. Led the thing in points. And then that's when it started, like the offers started to come in. I went to Omaha Lancers camp. I made that team, but I was only 16. So my parents didn't let me go because my older brother didn't make it at the time. So they didn't want to like split us up. And then we actually played on the same team that last year, which was one of the best years ever. Like I was 16 turning 17, and he was out of high school already, so he was just taking college classes, and we were just having a blast together. And then he actually ended up going and playing the BCHL as well.
Nice. Where do you play?
He played at Trail in Surrey, so he was bouncing all over the place. But yeah, he was a good player. He just never grew. He's still, I think, 5'8". So I got the good genes when it comes to height.
Okay, let's talk about the first 3 to 4 years in professional hockey for you. I mean, you played up and down between the AHL and the National League. This is a question I like to ask guys too. I mean, I coach junior hockey. It's a little different than when you were playing, but all these guys ask, how hard is it to play pro or, college and stuff? What was the biggest adjustment for you going from college to pro hockey, especially the American League?
Well, the American League for me personally was easy to get points, easy to produce.
Oh, must be nice.
Just because it's super, it's a little more chaotic, like people are almost overworking. So they're working themselves out of position. You get a little more time and space because of that. Like guys are trying so hard to get to the next level that adversely gives you more looks and opportunities than you would get and then you go up to the NHL and everyone's in the right position.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone's working hard, but they're more working smart than anything. So like that's why the game happens so fast in the NHL, because everyone knows where everyone's going to be.
Yeah.
If you don't play that style, you get weeded out pretty quick. The AHL, like, I mean, I could still go produce point per game in the AHL right now, but it's the game it's chaotic, you know, like it's a little bit like guys trying to prove themselves, guys trying to like make a difference. And then the NHL is like, all right, let's try to win a cup. Let's do what's best for our team. It's not all about personal accolades. And you can see that, you know, like guys will go from one team playing 19 minutes and want to get traded to a team to play 12 for a cup contender. And, you know, it's just kind of like sacrificing your own personal wealth and stats for the betterment of the team. Whereas down in the AHL, it's like, all right, how am I going to get seen? How am I going to get brought up?
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Because even like, you know, me and Danny, like we play, you know, like last night we were playing men's league, right? And we're all busting our balls, right? In like C division. And then if we go watch an A division game, you know, these guys all play pro or play in the K or play the NHL, whatever it is. It looks like they're not even working hard, right? Just because they're so positionally smart.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're working hard, but like kind of what you're saying though, they just know where to be and know where to go.
Yeah, and honestly too, it makes the game like I've played adult league. I've played like it's honestly easier to play in the NHL than in the AHL. It's harder to get points, but it's easier to play, if that makes sense. Like,
yep.
If you're breaking a puck out in the NHL, like everyone's where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. And
then adversely, everyone defending is where you think they'll be. Mm-hmm. So there's no really unknown. There's not like a AYSO soccer game where it's just like follow the puck around.
Yeah.
But that's where you get your points in the AHL is like I found personally, like you would only need 2-3 opportunities in a game to put up 2-3 points, where in the NHL, like if you could get 2 or 3 grade A's in a game, that's great. But now you're shooting on Carey Price. Now you're getting defended by Shea Weber. Like it's like the list goes on, the layers of people you have to beat in order to get put up points. That's why you see these, like, people don't realize how good like McDavid, like you see it, but then you step on the ice with them and it's like, all right, this guy probably thinks he's playing the AHL based on how good he is compared to everyone else on the ice.
Right.
Okay, here's an AHL question for you before we jump on a little bit more NHL stuff. Like, good buddy of ours, Tim Stapleton, like when he was playing in the American League, he always said, like, you know, you're sitting beside a guy in the stall and like, I mean, your teammates are kind of your teammates, but this guy's hoping you blow your fucking knee out so you can kind of go to the NHL. Like, is that?
Yeah. I was a little different in that regard because I don't really care. Like I like hyping up the boys. I like seeing my buddies do well. And I'm happy that I was able to go up in the NHL and put up points and whatnot, or get money basically. I was injured a lot, so I didn't really put up points. But in the AHL, it is weird because when I was coming in, you had a bunch of 30-year-olds like still working for like provide for a family. Now it's super different. Like I was the second oldest on Tucson last year, 2 years ago. And I think the ages were like everyone was 24 and under. And then there was Andy Mealy, who was 31. I was 29. And that was it. So it was like,
that's wild.
That's where it changed. Like when I got to Tucson, like I wasn't trying to make it back to the Phoenix, you know, like my knees were shot. Like if I go up to the NHL with bad knees, I get exposed. But in the AHL, I can kind of dictate the play a little bit. I can kind of play my own game. I don't have to go out and kill guys. So for me, at the end of my career, like the AHL was definitely the spot for me, you know, in terms of being effective. You know, I could go up, but I just wouldn't be a good player or the player I'd want to play like.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. You get to win a cup in 2015, 2016 season with the Penguins. Now we're talking about a real wagon here. Playing with guys like Sid, Malkin. First off, how was that? And also winning a cup. How special was that for you?
It was dope. It was one of those things though. Like I wasn't really a part of it. I only played 30 games that year, 30 something games that year. I got crushed. My shoulder's like super mangled from a hit with Oshie. That was in December. First game with Mike Sylvan. So we had changed coaches. We had a wagon, but we started off super slow.
Yeah.
And then once we got Sully in there, and he kind of changed sometimes voices get a little old. The message gets a little dry. And then he came in and just like the way we played, like even if you look at our D core that year, like we had solid D, but you wouldn't say like, oh, this is like the best D core, but it didn't matter because once they got the puck out of the zone, it was like the waves that from the first line to the fourth line, everyone had skill, everyone could make plays. Like you had Bonino, Kessel, and Hagelin on the third line putting up 15 points each in the playoffs. Like if your third line's doing that, you're gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
And then even our fourth line was like Eric Fair, Tom Kuhnackel, Brian Russ. Like these guys are like good players.
They're heavy. Yeah.
So the way we played was super like get the puck out of the zone at all costs, get it to the neutral zone, use our speed. And then when we're kind of defending, we would defend in the offensive zone by like, you just wouldn't hesitate, you know, like if a guy was on the puck, you get another guy there. I think that team kind of changed how teams played from then on because the structure was there, but it was more like don't hesitate, just go get north, get pucks to the net, and then when that happens, it causes confusion as a defensive team. Like they don't even know where guys are coming from because we're just everywhere on the ice. Mm-hmm. So
that's wild. Okay, well, we gotta talk about the party though. I mean, I'm assuming that you were there for the cup party after you guys won.
Yeah, the party we were in San Jose, so we partied that night, and then we flew home the next day. It's a long flight, so pretty hungover on that flight, and then we had the parade, and then that week was a weird situation for me. I was just happy to be there and with the boys, and like, but I didn't really do anything, you know. I'd been just doing like injury skates for the last like 4 months.
Yeah.
Just kind of a party to the party. And it was just awesome to be around all the boys. And like the real benefit for me was being able to have the cup day back in California. And just kind of getting all the guys I played with growing up together, all the coaches that coached me growing up, and just kind of paying homage to say like, hey, like you guys are a part of this. Like I wouldn't have been here. Because I played in California until I was 17. Like if it wasn't for those guys being good players, I wouldn't have been able to develop up to that point.
Right.
So, Beau, you spent some time in New Jersey and St. Louis and stint there, and you had a great year in New Jersey, I believe, like points-wise too, and almost a full season. You know, what was that like playing in those two cities?
Yeah, so in New Jersey, I actually didn't have that many points. I think I had like 20 and like 65, but our team was pretty bad, to be honest, but I had played well. You know, I had felt confident in my game. It was like ascending. It was just one of those years where like I hit the post like 20 times, like just stuff was not falling.
Yeah.
There was constantly changing line mates. You know, you couldn't get any continuity with whoever you're playing with. But I mean, I had a great year in terms of how I thought I was playing. It just didn't work out with my personality in that room. But nothing bad to say, you know, it was a good learning experience. Got to live right by New York, got to experience that life. And then the next year because they didn't qualify me, I went to St. Louis on a 1-year deal. And then that's when my knees started getting pretty bad. So I knew it right before I went to training camp. I could tell like the day in and day out, I'm like, this is going to be a struggle. So throughout training camp, I just knew I just wasn't going to be the player that I was the year prior. Yeah. And when I got sent down, it was more of a shock. It was more like gutting to the ego than anything. Like I knew I wasn't playing up to the product they thought they were buying. So it sucked at first, but then I get sent to Chicago, which is a combined team with Vegas at the time. So they have no rookies. We're basically just an AHL veteran team, all making one-way money, like living in Chicago, and we were like really good. So it was like the best situation to go down there. And again, like I couldn't skate. I would stand up on the bench the whole game because I couldn't bend my knees.
Oh,
and
my.
it was a joke. It was like a running joke amongst us, but we were just so good that it didn't really matter, like just kind of go through the year. And then we got to the playoffs and dislocated my shoulder first game, and then we lost in the first round. So that year was a blur.
Ugh. Yeah, that shoulder you just showed us looked bad.
I actually got it fixed. So I fixed my labrum, but my AC joint is literally like,
Holy.
so everything is disconnected.
Wow.
That is unbelievable, that thing.
That was compliment to TJ Oshie.
Okay, let's talk about now. Obviously, you're retired, and me and Dan were talking last night. We're like, wow, he's 29, but now we all know why, obviously with the injuries and stuff. What are you up to now? I mean, you mentioned to me last night that you have to do some work. Where are you working these days? What's going on? What's the retired life got in store for you?
So I settled in Scottsdale, but I work for this hockey company called Pro Mentor. It's basically connecting amateur players to current or former pros, just kind of creating this kind of big brother relationship where you can bounce ideas. You can like talk about maybe your day in struggles. Maybe you get cut from a team. You can relate to some pro that got cut. I got cut from teams. I got benched in games. Like as a kid, you think it's like you're on an island a little bit and you're kind of alone. And as a parent, for a parent who hasn't played or done that or been through it, it's hard to identify with what a kid's going through or what they're feeling. So it's just adding another voice, maybe answering parents' questions as well. Like, what do you think's best? Maybe they want to choose between USHL or BCHL. I can just give them 2 points of view and then they can take it from there. Just an added perspective and kind of trying to get rid of over parenting, over coaching in youth hockey with people who aren't really qualified to do so. So just another resource for kids to reach out to pros and be approachable and available, which I think in this day and age is kind of the onus is put on us to be available for these kids to be like, all right, let's make you a better player. Let's make you a better person. And you'll be a better teammate as well.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Love to hear it. Okay, let's chat about your golf game. How much you golfing? I mean, you're living down in Arizona. I mean, that's a shitty place to live. Let's talk about your golf game. What's up?
I'm a very I'm a fun golfer. So I rarely play my own ball. If I play, we're doing like 2-man scrambles, or a best ball. Like I don't keep a handicap. I just go out there as an excuse to drink outside for 4 hours. And that's basically it. Like, I don't really like playing with guys that take it super serious. It kind of just sucks the life out of me. I want to go out there, play barefoot. If I play, I'm going to be low 80s. If I play my own ball out, the lowest I've ever shot was 71. But then you'll catch me on a day where I shoot 105 too, because I don't care enough to take the time to practice to get better. Like there might be a day where I'll putt the ball 45 times. So it's one of those, it's almost exciting to not practice it because I don't know what's going to happen out there. Could be great, could be bad. We'll see.
You would be like the hardest guy to play like a money match with, like straight up. Like, hey, what's your handicap? I don't know. I'm gonna shoot 105 or 71.
Yeah, no, I'd say I'm like a 12, like a 10 or a 12. Like I'm like
pretty good.
If I'm putting the ball in the hole, because I think you have to do that for handicaps. Like you have to see the ball. Like I'll miss putts from a foot and a half out, like no problem. I'm consistently in the 80s. If I were to play my own ball, if it's a course too that's not too narrow. Actually, my game went super south after my shoulder happened, just because the plane that it comes on sometimes gets a little wiggly on the way down. So I sometimes I'll hit it out to in, sometimes I hit it into out. So just battling like a two-way miss constantly sucks. But I found a way to just have fun with it. And I only golf with guys who really do too.
That's awesome. Well, you and Danny H did along really well.
Yeah, that's you're basically explaining my golf game. I don't care enough to practice, but it's just a good time and love drinking the beers on the course with the boys at 4 hours.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of beers, time to go into our questions from the gallery, sponsored by Molson Coors. Meet new Busy Hard Seltzer with 100 calories per 355 milliliters. This variety pack has something for everyone to enjoy, including pineapple mango, blueberry pomegranate, strawberry kiwi, and black cherry lime flavors. And there's more to add on too, but please drink responsibly all the time. All right, Beau, bunch of golf questions here, hockey questions. Again, these are all at your own discretion, but a lot of the boys tell the stories because they're beauties. So
Hey, I'm retired, so I don't care about anything.
There we go. Yeah.
let's go. All right, then. First one, best rookie party story that you can't tell.
One of the best actually was in the AHL. We were in Atlantic City, and we had a bunch of rookies in Wilkes-Barre that year. I think we had 10 rookies, so we had to dress up as Jersey Shore characters. So we all had like the blowout haircuts, all like tight shirts. We had like the bedazzled jeans on, and I just got absolutely cranked that night. Like I just committed so hard. And I was rooming with Dominic Uher, who's a Czech guy. I don't even know if he's playing anymore, but great guy. Sure enough, I don't remember anything, but it's 10:30. Our bus is at 10:30. Wake up to a phone call from the hotel at 10:41. Hey, you guys, like, we're on the bus. Like, what's good? I wake up in the jeans that I wore out. I'm missing a jean pant leg. So I have my jeans on, but one side is just not there. So I have like one leg down, my jeans on. I'm still wearing my hair is still like in a faux hawk. And we sprint down there, get on the bus. I'm puking in my bag. For a lot because we drove, and then pull up to our practice rink as we're getting off. I sprint by the coaches. I'm like 20 years old at this point. Sprint by the coaches. I just puke all over the floor getting out of the bus. And granted, I got fined, but I mean, it was worth it for the story. And there was a good laugh for the boys.
Danny, got one?
Yeah, I got one. What was your favorite part about playing in Canada?
Favorite part about playing in Canada was actually the fact I didn't enjoy Penticton enough. Like I went there as a young kid. Like I was spoiled growing up by the beach but Penticton is one of the best cities I've ever been to. Like it's such a hidden gem right on Lake Okanagan. And like our fans, like that rink was incredible. I was a rink rat. So when I got there, I didn't really realize you could just skate forever. So I'd be out there for 2.5 hours. I would skip school like every single day. So it was awesome. You know, like I remember my parents had to have a meeting with like the principal because I missed like 65 days of school the first semester. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's just not going. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, best part about playing was my billets were awesome. My roommate was awesome, Ben Sexton, and the whole city as a whole was awesome as well.
Nice.
He's like, just how nice people in Canada are. That's the only thing he had to say.
Yeah.
Actually, one of our other co-hosts played in Penticton as well. They won a championship when he was there. He said the rink was unreal. Fred was good to him. Loved the team. But that team's an absolute wagon.
I think they're a wagon every year, aren't they? Like they're just always good.
Every single year they get good guys in imports and people. We kind of like it was happening before me, but every year the new crop sets the tone for the next crop. Where it's like, all right, just ask anyone. If you go there, you're getting the best coaching. You're playing at the best rink, and you're gonna get a D1 scholarship. Everyone on their team gets scholarship. So that's the bonus, you know, especially if you're not a highly touted guy. Like I still want to get my college paid for.
Yeah. Okay, next one here. Best locker room story / prank that you can tell.
Best locker room story or prank. I mean, Pascal Dupuis sewed all the holes to my suit shut because I wouldn't play piano for the boys at a team dinner.
Oh, jeez.
But that's not even like a huge like deal, you know. It's just like you kind of cut them out and then just go buy a new suit. But there wasn't really that many. I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury was always up to like Marc-Andre Fleury would just do like the funniest little shit. Like he would just go like into the other locker room of like whoever we were playing and just put like pieces of bubble gum into like the tips of their fingers where it's like hard to get it out, but it's like stuffed all the way in there. And he was always doing like funny stuff like that, like hang like gear from the ceiling, like in the rink from the Console Energy Center, and we'd be skating around like, but yeah, he was always the funniest guy. And then one year it was me and Simone Napre. We came home and we were playing the island actually, and we got outside of our elevator and we were like, there's guys waiting for us. I was like, all right, this is weird. Go into our room and everything in our room is like taped up against the wall. So like TV, beds, like you could just like have like do yoga in there. So we had to get all that stuff down, make it look normal. That took a couple hours, but that was like the worst thing that happened to me.
Who was the guy in the Penguins that would always like, was it like they like screwed the shoes into the bottom of the floorboards? Was that Letang?
I don't know. Letang was always doing it. Those French guys were always doing something. Like they were up to no good. But I was very fortunate playing with like awesome guys where, you know, like if someone pulls a prank on you and you like them, it's not even a huge deal. But if it's like there's no camaraderie there, it's like, all right, screw you. Now there's some tension in the locker room. It was like anything we ever did, it was really funny. So
That's awesome. Danny?
No, you go.
You're good? Okay. Oh, I had a good one here, just lost it. We talked about lowest round. Ultimate foursome on the golf course.
Ultimate foursome on the golf course. I'll take Bill Murray, Tiger, and Charles Barkley.
It's a good lineup.
It's a good lineup, yeah. That'd be a lot of fun.
I think it kind of has everything. Has funny, has shitty at golf. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here, so I don't know.
Fine,
yeah, you're good. Yeah.
And then you have the greatest player in the world. Like I'd say Tiger's my favorite athlete of all time. In terms of, I'm not a fan of any team. Like obviously I want the Dodgers, the Lakers to win when they play. And it was Kings before I turned pro in hockey. But if there's anyone that I can watch and not have money on, it's Tiger. Like when he plays, I'm tuning in from start to finish.
Great. Yeah.
That's unreal. Okay. This is a good one too. Some guys answer it, some guys don't, but cheapest guy you played with?
Cheapest guy I played with. There were some cheap guys in Tucson I played with 2 years ago, but that's just because you're young and you have no money.
Yeah.
Cheapest guy I played with. Let me think here. It's weird because I was those Pittsburgh years, like everyone had made good dough.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like no one was like cutting. I was getting a lot of stuff paid for. I don't really remember the cheapest guy I played with, but I'll tell you another story. My second game in the league, we're in Buffalo, and I'm like, I have no money at this point. I had gone through my whole signing bonus. You're making nothing in the AHL leading up to the NHL. So I didn't even got an NHL money yet. And we go to Chop House, and I go with all like the big guys like Dupuis, Kunitz, Sid. There's like 8 of us there. I'm the youngest. I'm just like along for the ride. I'm like, all right, I'll just get the chicken, no appy, no salad, like no wine. And these guys are like going in. Like I think the bill had to have been thousands of dollars. And then we just go split evenly. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like I hopefully that my credit card doesn't bounce here. And then from that point on, I've been drinking wine ever since. I never missed out on I'm like, if we're eating and we're splitting, I'm getting my money's worth. So from that point on, I got my money's worth.
I think if I was in your shoes, I'd be like, yeah, I'll just get the breadsticks that are free and water, no ice.
Just eating croutons, sucking on lemons.
I got one here. What is your favorite beverage on the golf course?
I love John Daly's. I just like
Okay.
just John Daly's. I've been trying to stay away from beer a little bit. My family is, as lame as it sounds, has a little bit of a gluten thing going on. So
Okay.
I didn't really notice it until I cut it out, and my knees starting to feel a little
Nice.
better here and there. My joints are feeling a little bit better. But yeah, double John Daly gets me right in the pocket. That's when I can shoot 70. That's when I can shoot par.
Do we have that in Canada? What is it like?
It's just vodka and
Vodka?
Arnold Palmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we have the Arnold Palmer one though.
Oh, okay.
Or, I don't know.
They just call it John Daly.
Oh, you just call that. Okay.
Because it's like he's the drunk golfer, so
Yeah.
they call it John Daly. Just like a Shirley Temple with alcohol, we call it a Marty McSorley.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we have to ask this, Beau. You played 5 games, I believe, in the KHL. How was that experience?
It sucks, to be honest. Like, we were really bad, and my knees, like I said, this was the year after St. Louis. I didn't get anything figured out for my knees. I was just trying to capitalize on cash at the time. And like, it works for guys because the money is good. The hockey's pretty decent over there. It just didn't work for me. Like, if I was feeling good, I could have made it work. And Minsk is actually a cool spot. City's super clean. But just like little stuff like that I couldn't like grasp. Like, for instance, I came over there thinking like, hey boys, I haven't skated all summer. I need to not do preseason, or I need to just play 1 or 2 games. I played 9 out of the 10 preseason games. They treat it like regular season.
Wow.
And it was just it was a shock to me coming from like North America, where preseason is just kind of like, all right, let's evaluate some of the guys, not all the guys.
Yeah.
And then like little stuff in preseason, like we'd have an off day and then we'd have like a bus trip. I'm like, well, it's not an off day then. And then I remember one time it was 7 a.m. bus, and we went to this church in like the middle of Russia, like 3 hours away. And they're super religious Belarusian guys. And like, I mean, I don't speak anything. I didn't try to assimilate to their culture whatsoever. So we're at just like this sacred church that we finally get there at 10. They're there for like, they're going on this tour. I just sat it out. I said, boys, like, sorry, like I can't walk around. You can't force this on me. So I just sat in like the corner and just like witnessed all this, and no food, no water. There was no air conditioning on the bus. We didn't get back till like 7 p.m. So that was our day off. That was really when I started checking out and being like, well, what the hell am I doing here? Like, no one speaks up either. There's no veteran presidents that's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this. It's like their way or the highway.
Yeah.
And
that's tough.
But the money is good. So like if you can get by that, like the money is so solid that like it's worth it to some degree. But with my knees, I wasn't enjoying even hockey. So there's the outside life sucked, on the ice sucked. So everything sucked in my opinion.
Fair enough. How many hole ones do you have, Beau? Sorry.
I have 0, but I witnessed 3 in the span of a month, which was like crazy. Yeah. Riley Nash, I was golfing with Riley Nash, and he hit one from like 175 out. And then we play this little par 3 course. I don't even know if you consider it hole in ones, but
absolutely.
Yeah. But one hole is 75 yards and the other's like 89 yards. It's still a hole in one because that's what the tee boxes are from. Yeah. But you know, like I've holed out from 90 yards, you know, like, but it's not a hole in one.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny. Like my best buddy did it where he didn't get the ball off the ground 2 inches, sculled along the ground, and it rolled into the hole. And then my little brother did it, and then Riley Nash did it on like a legitimately sick like country club course.
Nice.
God, I hate people that just like duff into the hole one, because I don't have any yet, and I like play a lot of golf. But what's the rule down there when you're playing? So like up here, certain clubs, if you hit a hole one, your group drinks for an hour for free, and then everyone on the court gets a drink.
Yeah, I haven't really experienced anything like that. You know, like when Riley did it, we should have just flown to Vegas, got off the course and flown to Vegas or something. That's our rule. And amongst our friends, if anyone gets a hole in one on like a real course, we just get off the course, even if it's hole 1 and we have to go to Vegas that night. But that's just our own personal rule. I don't know if that carries over to many people.
I mean, if we had the money, we would do it, but that's pretty sick though. Okay, best courses you've played, Beau.
Best course, the course I played a lot is, and my favorite course is Trump National in LA.
Nice.
It's just one of those courses that it's so hard that like if you like break 80, like you're playing an unbelievable round, just because the way this course is set up, it's on the side of a hill.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys seen Entourage.
Mhm.
Have you guys? Well, when that guy has a heart attack on that green, that's Trump National.
Oh, okay.
So it's right on the cliffs there where the water, so you're either clubbing up 2 clubs or you're clubbing down 2 clubs because it's blowing like 20 miles per hour into your face.
Elevation, yeah.
And then if you miss the fairway, your ball's OB. So it's just this so hard. And I think it would have been a PGA course, but 3 of the holes fell in the water, like literally fell into the ocean. So they had to make it. They had to make it way shorter. So that's the hardest course I've played. It's my favorite course that I've played. And then out here in AZ, I've played every course, to be honest. And I think my favorite out here is Quintero.
Nice.
Quintero is just this like sick public course. Every hole's cut like a postcard, like you don't see other fairways. Like it's just like that hole in front of you. And I think it was created to be like a resort, but it's just a little bit too far off the beaten track, like to be one. So when we get out there, like the greens roll at like 14. So like they'll literally, even before, like they'll ask your handicap. And if you're above a certain handicap, they say you can't play from the tips because it's just not like, it won't be fun.
Yeah.
That course is like a must hit when you're here. And then Southern Dunes is another sick one too.
Nice.
Have you ever played the Legacy?
I like Legacy. I like Raven over there too.
Raven,
my brother played Grand the other day. The close courses right here by my house is like Phoenician and Ambiente and Padre. So when we go out there, I will never golf if guys are wanting to play their own ball. Like I'll just wait till the next round. Like there's this little par 3 course called Mount Shadows. I'm actually waiting to hear back from a couple guys if we want to just go play a quick 2-hour round, because right now it's like 106 out. So if you play though, there's no one there. So it's not a huge deal in the heat if you're getting and hitting your ball every time.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Danny H, anymore?
No, I think I'm good.
Beau, man, we appreciate coming on today. I hope we can do it again. Hopefully we get down to Arizona at some point. We'll link up for some golf.
Yeah,
100%. 2-man scramble or whatever it is. And man, we appreciate coming on today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Beau.
No worries, boys. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one.